Hi, this is Marty with Skincare Science, and welcome back for another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about two different products within the Serene line. One is called AHA 12 Facial Cleanser, and the other is AHA 15 Refining Gel. I'm going to tell you the difference between the two and which one I would use for which purposes, and just give you some ideas. All right, so AHA 12 and AHA 15 both have a pH of 3.3 to 3.6. It's a range. It can never be static on one particular number, so it's a range, and it's lower than the 3.8, which is the pK value for the glycolic acid. So we have AHA, which stands for glycolic acid, and we have 12%, which the 12 in the name, and 15 in refining gel, so 12% and 15%. Those are very strong products since we have chemical acids at 10% and 20%. Although the pH is at 2.0, that pH gives it its added strength, even though the percentage of glycolic acid in these two products is actually higher. Okay, so when you're looking at an acid-based skincare product, you always want to look at the pH because that's going to tell you the overall strength of the product. The lower the pH, the stronger the product or the acidic nature of the product is going to be. So AHA 12 Facial Cleanser has two active ingredients, the glycolic acid at 12% and also a surfactant, okay, basically a soap. AHA 15 only has one active ingredient, and that's the 15% glycolic acid. Now, each product has a different approach and different method of use. When would you use the AHA 12 Facial Cleanser? Basically, you would use the AHA 12 Facial Cleanser on a Fitzpatrick, 3-4 or 2 on the small scale. Okay, AHA 15 would be 3-4, 2 on the small scale. Now, why is that? Well, the reason why that is because those are very high strength acids, and it would be very difficult on a Fitzpatrick 1, 2, or 5 or 6, or 1 and 3 on the small scale to really regulate what the client is going to do at home. Okay, both of these products are what I would call products that would be used in a regenerating cycle if the client would not be available to do a regenerating cycle with actual chemical peels. So basically how that would work is this. With the AHA 12 Facial Cleanser, this is AM, and this is obviously PM, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some notes here, and you'll see what I'm doing because I'm going to write the AHA 12, AHA 15, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to write off to the side basically how I would use a protocol as it relates to how often and when with this. Now, if you are a Fitz 1 or 2, or 1 on the small scale, or a 5 or a 6 and a 3 on the small scale, this is not a product that I would prescribe for you. Okay, I would prescribe other things like lotions and or creams that have glycolic in it, or I would bring them in for a 10, 20% or a 35% 2.5 pH glycolic acid peel to find out really what their skin can handle. Okay, but for 3 and a 4 and 2 on the small scale, this can be handled quite well. And you still want to ask what the overall experience of the client is because you want to know if they're going to go ahead and pay attention to their sun exposure and if they're going to go ahead and follow the instructions like the ones I'm about to give you. So both of these products could be used interchange but slightly different. Okay, so for the AHA 12, okay, that's going to be in the PM. AHA 12, and this is going to be Facial Cleanser Sensitive Skin in the AM. Now, how many times a week would I do AHA 12 in the PM for this client? It would be 2 times weekly. Okay, so this would be be Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, and then every other day. Besides this is going to be AM and PM. So basically what you're doing is you're alternating out of AHA 12 into Facial Cleanser Sensitive Skin. And why is that? Because you don't want to have any other acids going on with AHA 12 because it is so strong. Now remember, glycolic acid is time dependent. So you want to make sure this client understands Dry hands, dry face, strong product. Wet hands, lather it up, diluting the glycolic acid with water, not neutralizing it, but being careful not to dilute it too much and bring the pH to a point where it's not working at all. Now that's really tough to do because of the surfactants that are in this product, which are going to go ahead and take some of the barrier function away from the stratum corneum and allow the glycolic acid to penetrate into the upper layers of the stratum corneum. That's really what the benefit is of combining the AHA12, the glycolic acid, in with the surfactants. Okay, if you want to know more about the surfactants in transepidermal water loss and the barrier disruption, I've done videos on what ceramides do, and that kind of gives you an idea of what surfactants are doing and how the glycolic acid is able to penetrate a little bit deeper with regards to its ability to start that exfoliation process and become actually a little mini type peel. Okay, so this is how I would prescribe the AHA12. All right. Now and also too, depending on the client and depending on the aggressive nature of the client, you could do two to three times. Okay, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay, you could do that, but you just need to have a lot of oversight on the client and/or pay a lot of attention to yourself. Now, if you suddenly become your skin becomes sensitive, that means this is a very strong product for you, and you're going to want to back that off to 1 or 2 times a week. Okay, so I've noticed times where I've used that product and I've actually thinned my stratum corneum to where I've actually experienced sensitive skin side effects. So I know I'm using it too much and/or leaving it on the skin too much. Okay, and too much length of time. So on, dilute with water, on, scrub face, off, rinse off, all inside of under 60 seconds. Okay, so the longer you leave that glycolic acid on the skin, the longer it's working, penetrating. Even though you wash it off, it's still on there. So what you might want to do is also tell the client or yourself to go ahead and really flush that off to dilute and stop that acid from working. Okay, because as you know, there's no sodium bicarbonate nearby. So even though you're washing it with water, that's basically diluting, and it's not really deactivating the acid, okay, with a salt, which is what sodium bicarbonate does. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the AHA15. So this is very similar. Facial cleanser, sensitive skin. Facial cleanser, sensitive skin. Okay, now notice how I wrote these both at the top like I did not do with this, because you're not cleansing. So this is an added treatment when you're using the AHA15 refining gel, and that's going to be a second step. So it's going to be in the PM, AHA15, okay, and this is going to be applied with dry skin, okay, dry skin, okay, cotton, round, okay, and when you apply it, it's a gel, okay, so it's going to sit on the skin, and by nature within skincare, if you've never heard this before, has a little bit of truth to it. Gels act stronger because of the gel-like saturation on the skin. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to teach either yourself or the client to apply this in 60 seconds. The application, okay? Leave on 60 seconds. Wash. Wash off. Okay? So the entire process for applying HA15 is roughly, what's this, 120 to 180 seconds, or basically 3 minutes. If it goes any longer than that, that can be pretty strong as it relates to an at-home mini type peel. Okay, so this would be done 1 to 2 times a week, and you're going to pay attention to exactly what you did with the AHA12 with regards to if 2 times is too much, back it off to 1. And I would always go less is more, go with the once a week on Wednesdays, okay? Or on Saturdays, it really doesn't matter, but I like to break it up in the middle, okay? That's just me, okay? And definitely on the 2, all right? So What you could do is on a Fitzpatrick 1 on the small scale, this would definitely be 1 time a week. This, an AHA 15, that would be like using very, very little product. This would be a 120 application on and off. Now, whatever I did to the Fitzpatrick 1, and I'm kind of making it up, so here's my 2, right, 3 and 4, my 1 and 2. I would definitely, when you're looking at the 1 and 2 and the 1 on the small scale, I would definitely stick with 4, 5, and 6, or the 3 on the small scale, with the 1 and the 1 and the 1. Absolutely, okay. With the small scale 1 and the 3, you definitely want to be on top of the client, really, really pay attention for the first few weeks. And if you're using this by yourself, definitely for that first or second week, pay attention, make notes if you can, the day after, so you can have a record of what you're feeling and what you're seeing on your skin. Because as I said, with both of these products, they are very strong because of the percentage of glycolic acid and because of the low pH. And even diluting with plenty of water on either product, and what I mean by that is you could wet the face and do a cotton round with the 15 and dilute a little bit, but that's not really what it's for. You would definitely want to use the AHA 12 for that because it's already a soap and a surfactant, so it fits right in nicely, you know, kind of neatly as a cleanser, as a glycolic acid exfoliator. Yeah, and that's basically the overview. These products can be you know, dealt with in a regenerating cycle at home. They're very, very flexible, and that's probably the bird's eye view of these two products. And if you have questions, put them in the comments below. And if you have my cell phone number or my email address, you can always email me directly. And yeah, that's an overview of AHA 12 Facial Cleanser and AHA 15 Refining Gel. This is Marty with Skincare Science, and we'll see you in the next video.